Hi, welcome to Consumer Behavior. Next module of Consumer Behavior. In this module, we'll be talking about recent development in modeling consumer behavior. This module will help you in understanding and classifying current modeling efforts and some recent models of consumer behavior. We will also understand Batsman's information processing model of consumer choice, evaluation of consumer behavior model. Let's begin today's topic, the classification of current modeling efforts. As you know, every marketer implicitly has consumer behavior model in the mind. And since consumer behavior is only a subset of human behavior, the consumer behavior model do also borrow from other discipline like covering human behavior, its psychology, sociology, economics, anthropology, and decision science, etc. Here in the classification of current modeling efforts, this model basically fueled by the experience of Harvard State model and other parallel research. These attempts can be classified into different categories according to the following criteria. The first criteria is objective of modeling. Second is support of basic discipline. Third is support of analytical techniques. And the fourth is basic unit of consumer behavior model. We will understand in details the first criteria, that is objective of modeling. Objectives of modeling is divided into three parts. The first part talks about description of buying behavior. Friend, when I say description of buying behavior, what do you understand? There are certain descriptions about a customer. Before buying, what comes to his mind? Description of buying behavior focuses upon various contracts which plays a key role in buying process and behavior. As you know, there are data which are talking huge about the company as a manufacturer, which talks about the consumer disciplines. And this data is basically a survey conducted by various institutions. And this data is based on the demographic, socio-economic, psychology, and other buying stage. For example, under the modeling objective, the first part what we are discussing is a description of buying behavior. For example, I am a microwave manufacturer. I am from LG and I want to market my product. The data what I would search for primarily is a housewife, working people, or a people, husband, wife, both working, have a very short time. So the concern would be, I would take the data which will help me to analyze where people have short of time and they want the things to be run faster. So appropriate data for me would be husband, wife working, want to have a quick instant things. So what we go for? Microwave. So data appropriate for me would be a working employee. Right? And next part, let's go for the next modeling objective, that is describing consumer behavior. When I say describing consumer behavior, it means that this is the data which focus upon process influencing consumer behavior rather than state of consumer behavior. Under describing the consumer process, this helps us in linking various constructs, provide directions. This can also help us in linking various constructs and providing direction to the linkage within the model of consumer behavior. These linkages are quantified and marketers get even stronger handles to design input mix for achieving reluctant consumer state. As I said, describing consumer process, it's a process how consumer goes and buy the product. Every consumer has its own process. For example, I want to buy a car, so my process would be first I will survey as per my budget, what is the car which I have, what is the capacity of engine I can have in the given budget, and who are the dealers in my locality. Right? This is something which talks about describing consumer behavior. We are going to next part, predictability and control of consumer behavior. As the name says, predictability, predicting something, and controlling consumer behavior. Can a consumer be controlled? Here we are talking with the help of data. Data describe the state of consumer behavior and relation among them. For example, what brand I should be going for in a particular situation, in my particular budget. Let me explain you with a little simple form. You are associated with multinational company and you belong to an orthodox family, a traditional family who believe in traditional things, and the company where you are working offers you perks which includes your free club membership to you and your family. Now, you being a traditional member of a traditional family, do you think this membership of this clubs for your family member would suffice your purpose? Is it going to affect your lifestyle? No, because your family, being an orthodox family, they would not like to go to clubs, or rather they would like to go for a hill station and spend some time for religious function, spirituality, not to the club. Right? So predictability and control of consumer behavior, when I am talking about the state of knowledge in all such discipline have not yet reached at the stage where they can attempt this task. In the marketing context, the variables involved are in micro nature like brand choice of consumer, perception about the product learn, and association about the product category. We would now go to the next part, that is support of basic discipline. When I say support of basic discipline, what support we are talking about? That means support in the sense the data based on various factors. As we discussed earlier also, there are economical factors, there are psychological factors, there are family institutional factors. There are so many factors which affect the discipline of a consumer. Here we are talking about, when I say economics, it means that the economics gave earlier conceptualization of consumer behavior. We are talking about psychology. Here we discuss why consumer behave like this. What is the reason of buying this? And there are some disciplines which are roles of consumer at the various discipline. Let's go in details for understanding this. The support of basic discipline are further divided into three parts. The first is decision science. Here consumer behavior is a very important. The reason being how decision has been taken. What makes consumer to take a decision? Why he has taken this decision? That is called as decision science. When I am talking about anthropology, it's nothing but a man to physical world interaction. As an individual, how we interact with the world. And that is what we are talking about, anthropology. Anthropology itself has been preoccupied with much broader issues like impact of will on society, or how is the impact of this society, and the distribution for the blood group across the population, etc. Anthropologists, on their part, have started studying the phenomena which are commonplace in marketing. They have modified the methodologies. Modification in the way of marketing. Marketers have always founded the market mix, the product mix to offer to consumer. And this consumer, how he react to this given situation and how he maintains his situation to buy this product is nothing but an anthropology. For example, a sofa set in a household may enter the household through the impact of marketing mix built around the appeal, status, affiliation, or convenience. As per my budget, I go to my locality, I see what type of sofas are available, and I go for that particular sofa, which suits to my living room size, my budget, and the color combination. Right? These are some of the support for basic discipline. We'll move further. Now we are talking about analytical support, support of analytical technique. As the name says, analytical is more into, consumer behavior model invariably deals with the multiple of variables because you don't deal with only one factors. There are multiple factors that deals. So, I can say diverse analytical technique because they deals with so many techniques and so many data. It is very difficult for a consumer and also for the manufacturer to rely on one data. And that is the reason one of the diverse technique what they use is support analytical technique, which is more into analytical, like maths. With this, we'll go to basic unit of consumer behavior models. When I say basic unit of consumer behavior model, it's apart from individual. There are other people who influence consumer to buy the product. It's not only an individual customer or a consumer. Who are the people who support him to buy the product or to take a decision? Family, friends, society, institution, peers, etc. So earlier consumer behavior models centered around the behavior of individual consumer. In fact, they further concentrate upon fast-moving consumer non-durable product. And when we are talking about basic units of consumer behavior model, it's a society, family, friends. Let me explain you a little simpler way of basic unit of consumer behavior model. That is, suppose the youngest sibling in your family, he has joined a college and he insists you that I want to buy a jeans. And how would you as a parent will react when he is asking for a jeans? What are you going to do? So you will try to see what brand you will like to go for, which color you would like to go for, and how comfortable he is wearing into this. So that is nothing but a basic unit of consumer behavior, because when a college boy is going to buy a jean, he does not have a money to buy. He has money from the parent, and you being a parent, you help him to decide what to purchase and why to purchase. Alright? Friend, from here we'll go to the certain modules. We will now move further to discuss some modules of consumer behavior. There are many modules and the surveys which have been conducted for the consumer behavior, but the popular two modules are Nicotia's model of consumer decision process, and the other very popular model is Batman's information processing model. We will first understand what is Nicotia's model of consumer decision process. This model, Nicotia's model of consumer decision process, focuses upon decision-making step that consumer adopts before buying goods or services. You as a consumer, before buying any goods and services, you have taken a decision based on certain steps that are based on certain decisions, and that is what we are going to discuss in this model. The main field of these models are how a consumer behaves. That is what we are going to discuss. For example, let me explain you with the help of this diagram. Here in this diagram, you can see the factors or I can say the main fields of this model are, if you see in the first part here, it talks about marketers' communication affecting consumer attitude. That means, what is, as a consumer, how is his attitude? Okay? And from attitude, the source of message from the consumer is passed on from here, subtitle 1, that is firm's attitude. He passes, or a firm passes a message. It goes to consumer. For example, this message can be passed on through advertisement, or through newspaper, or through society. Right? From here, subfield 2, the message goes and consumer starts searching and evaluating as per his attitude, as per his intention. And then he is motivated to take a decision whether to purchase or not. If he takes a purchase to buy this product, it goes directly to consuming. Once you have consumed that product or you have used this product, then you will have an experience of using that product. And that is again a consumer, it again goes to consumer attributes. The main field, what we have seen in a previous flow chart here, is first marketers' communication affecting consumer attitude. Now, my dear friend, communication passes through various medias, as I told you. Communication not only means that mass media and personal communication, but there are other factors like product, price, and even the distribution. That plays a very important role in marketers' communication affecting consumer attitude. Now we are going next, that is consumer search and evaluation. You being a consumer, how do you search and evaluate product? You seek information, you evaluate your information or your requirement based on the merits of competing products. You go for multiple products, you choose one product and you compare the things. And then your purchase action. This purchase action, when I am talking about, this is a third field of Nicotia's model, because here consumer get motivated to buy the brand and customer actually shop for this product. He buys the product. The choice of actual retailer does not take place here. And consumption experience and feedback is nothing but once you have used the product, your feedback and your experience. How's your feedback after using this product? Are you happy? Is there any more improvement in this product? Can be traced out only in this factor, that is function of experience and feedback. We'll proceed further. The next model, there are various models, as I said. The popular models are Nicotia's and Batman's. Nicotia's we have discussed. We will now go to the Batman information processing model of consumer behavior. The main components of this module are, you can see there are various components. First is processing capacity, motivation, attention and perceptual encoding, information acquisition and evaluation, memory, decision process, consumption and learning process, and then scanner and interrupt mechanism. Let's understand each component in detail. The first component when I am talking about, that is processing capacity. What do you mean by processing capacity? Each individual has a limited capacity to process information. All information cannot be processed at one person because every person has its own capacity. So a consumer try to bypass the limit by ignoring certain information, practicing information. Consumer try to pass this limit by ignoring certain information, prioritizing information in use of using rule of thumb knowledge of processing capacity, etc. Because you have your own limit. And the next model, in the module, next part is motivation. How do you get motivated? What is motivation? Motivation provides intensity and direction for the choice process to the consumer in this module. Here consumer is buying the product. This acts as a superseding component and controls the continuation and suspicion of various process. All your doubts and other thing has been taken out, and you are finally motivated to buy the product. Right? Coming to attention and perceptual encoding. When I say information, attention, anything, you attract the customer's attention. And then perception, that you perceive that customer will buy. So I can say the perceptual encoding helps the consumer in integrating the acquired information. It helps consumer how and how much to process the information received by the marketer. As a consumer, he is going into the market, he goes to buy something. In a market, he finds so many people coming across and selling the product, and they are displaying, they are marketing their product. But what consumer does over here in this stage is he has a perception. For example, if I am very brand loyal of using the biscuits of Parle, anything which comes from to me as a Parle product, I will easily trust that product and purchase that, because my perception is this product is good. Correct? We'll move further. Memory. Consumer has a very short-term memory. However, it does not mean that they don't have a long-term memory. They have short-term as well as long-term memory both, but they remembering the things is only for a short term. In short-term memory, the consumer acquired information stored less than, what I can say is, than 2 minutes, not more than that. The consumer then evaluates, implying the stimuli, and decide whether the information is worth transferring to others or no. So memory again plays a very important component in the Batman information. Then is a decision process. The ultimate decision of brand is consumer, and consumer takes a decision. This decision process works on various information and perception of the consumer. And then finally, consumption and learning process. When I say consumption and learning process, the experience gained through the consumption of that product, after buying that product, as well as the process of decision stored by the consumer. And finally, it's a scanner and interrupt mechanism. When I say scanner and interrupt mechanism, it means that these are like the information switches, where consumer decide that he does not want insufficient information for decision, or he scans those information for next product or to buy the further product. Right, friend? We'll move further to the next part, that is evaluation of consumer behavior model. Evaluation of consumer behavior model is based on certain criteria, and this criteria is chosen for the purpose of following. The purpose is external validity. When I say external validity, it's an external factor, consumer factor from outside. Internal validity, when I'm talking about, that's internal factor. Internal as a company as a whole, when I take internal factor. As a consumer, for me, internal validity is my own family member. Robustness, when I'm talking about, continuously one after another, I keep on buying. For example, consumer durable, non-durable item, consumer consumable item, fast FMCG product, fast moving consumer product. These are product we check robustness is there in that product. Generalizability. When I say generalizability, it is generalized. My general perception is Parle biscuits are nice, so I have generalized that. Disruptive ability, which disrupts me every time I buy Parle biscuit, after some time they become stale. Then predictability. Predictability, I predict anything new is coming, so that has to be a genuine product of Parle. And simplicity. Today the major problem faced by manufacturer is they are not able to convey as the message the customer want, because company try to put certain technical words and the consumer don't understand. What consumer want is simplicity, and it should be comprehensive. That means it should be in short, it should not be very lengthy. Alright, friend, let's summarize what we have learned. The unit, what we have learned, focused on the consumer behavior models. We discussed two models, that is Nicosia model and Batman information processing model. Let's proceed for the questions. What are the different categories of classification of current modeling behavior? Can you recollect that? The different category of classification of current modeling efforts are based on 4 factors: the objective of the modeling, support of basic discipline, and support of analytical technique, and the last but not the least is basic unit of consumer behavior model. What do you understand by Batman's information processing model of consumer behavior? Can you recall that? Batman model of consumer behavior is the recipient of large amount of information from marketers, competitors, and rest of environment. The main components of this model are processing capacity, motivation, information acquisition and evaluation, memory, decision process, consumption and learning processes, scanner and interrupt mechanism. Let me recall you. Scanner and interrupt mechanism, these are like information switches for consumers, where consumer decides what to buy, he recalls all the information, and then he finally takes a decision. All right, friend. Thank you and have a happy learning. Take care.